Hello and welcome to the 10th part of this Live for Any Percent tutorial series. We're reaching the end almost. In this part we'll cover the jobs Lost and Found, Open Sesame, Rugrats and Up in Smoke in episode 5. 40 Thieves. So you start by selecting Slide by pressing X. Even though episode 5's hub world is not the biggest area in the game, it's still the only area in the game where you get 3 full Sly logo cycles when restarting checkpoint. So keep this in mind when restarting checkpoints or skipping cinematics. So in EP5 hub you spawn like this. On the edge of the map you're facing to the sea, and behind Sly is a big rock that we can't climb directly, and regardless of going left or right we have to run for some time until we pass the next corner. And then of course on this side there's this pillow, and on this side this rope, but using them is not faster in any scenario in the any percent route. So basically you'll be either going directly right or directly left after exiting safe house. In Lost and Found, Open Sesame, Rugrats and Copycats, you want to hold right from the load because you want to go right, and in Up in Smoke, Heavy Metal Meltdown and All Rolled Up you want to hold left. So it's that simple. You can't hold directly right or directly left though. You gotta have it like just an inch toward up left or up right. But basically not even like 2:30 o'clock or 9:30 o'clock, more like 9:15 and 2:45 o'clock or something like that. And when going pretty much anywhere in this episode, we can see that a huge wall covers a big portion of this hub world, and the wall reaches across the entire portion of this map, and there are basically only 3 gaps in it. The one on the right, which is the tallest gap, and then 2 smaller gaps more to the left. This is the center one of those, where the Lost and Found trigger is located, and then this is the left one of these, just a bit left from the Lost and Found job trigger. And when going to certain job triggers, it's also pretty easy to remember which of these entrances through this wall you're gonna use. So in Lost and Found and Rugrats we want to go through this tunnel. In Open Sesame we want to go through the one tunnel to the left of the tunnel where the Lost and Found trigger is located, and then in the later parts of this episode in Heavy Metal Meltdown and All Rolled Up we want to go through this taller opening in this wall on the right of the Lost and Found trigger. In Copycats and Up in Smoke we won't be going that far. Then let's talk a bit about the EP5 flashlight guards, since they're a bit different compared to other flashlight guards in the sense that as a long-range attack, they throw these bottles that they carry on a vest. So they don't shoot anything, they throw at you. They actually throw those bottles really darn fast. The dodging trick from episodes 3 and 1 does not work with these guys. So let's go to Lost and Found, and the guard spawns when you're going to this trigger are rather random. So I'm gonna show a couple of guard spawning scenarios first. If a guard like this spawns, you'll get shot if you just run straight. In order to avoid this, just curl your movement a bit to the right, like this. If a guard like this spawns, you'll also get shot if you just run straight. In order to avoid this, just go a bit closer to the guard, so he'll do a close encounter attack instead of shooting you. If a guard like this spawns, just go a bit to the right, so he'll spot you a bit later. So after hitting the chop trigger, mash start in order to skip a cinematic. You spawn like this, and our objective is to go to the lamp shot straight ahead, but there is some water in between, so just hold up from the load and paraglide to the second rock, single jump across. We're gonna jump from this rock later in this episode too, so just be mindful of the structure of this platform here. So here there is no place for you to stand on, and from this rock you can either single jump or double jump paraglide if you want to do the most straightforward route. Do the strat of your choosing in order to reach the trigger, and mash circle when approaching it in order to hit it optimally. After this load there won't be a cutscene to skip, so you spawn like this, so we gotta go a bit to the right in order to reach the inner part of the room. So hold 1 o'clock from the load until you reach a checkpoint. And after you hit a checkpoint, press R3. So the fingerprints indeed are located behind this wall, but we can take the picture through the wall when we're standing right about over here. So when you're coming from the load after holding 1 o'clock, just try to adjust your camera already so that when you press R3, you're already aiming towards the fingerprints on the left. And these do require a lot of zoom. That's probably like 75% of the zoom capacity. So 1 o'clock from the load, checkpoint, binocucom, take the picture. And after this picture, mash start in order to skip a cinematic. It's just slightly faster to skip the cinematic here. We still need to take one more picture inside the lamp shop, and it's for the door. After skipping the cinematic, you spawn at the same location, but you can already take the picture when you're standing on this spot. So that's already pretty close to the default spawning location. As you see, once again, there's a bit of pillars on the way, but it works. About half the zoom capacity is required here. So from the load, you want to hold up until you reach this point and then press R3. And already from the spawn, try to aim the camera towards the strange door. Like so. The camera is kind of wonky here, but you want to keep holding down right until you're facing the exiting trigger. Like this. Kind of like that. After the load, you once again don't need to skip cinematics or pause game or anything like that. We're just gonna spawn a sly with a new default spawning location, which is in front of the lamp shop. So in this phase of this job, we need to take 3 pictures. As we can see, we're pretty much at the dead center. So one of them is very far north, and then 2 others are more southern locations on the map. The northern photo is called heat imprint, then the photo on the right of these 2 is called hair follicle, and this on the left is called cloth fiber. So that's how I'm gonna refer these locations for the rest of this segment. You can do these in the order of your choosing, but in the speedrun, the order we do these pictures is that we first take the heat imprint picture in the far north, and then we restart checkpoint because the other 2 are so far away from this location that by restarting checkpoint and warping to the default spawn location, the time it takes to reach the hair follicle checkpoint is shorter. So you can either do the heat imprint picture first and then the other 2, or do hair follicle and cloth fiber first and then end with heat imprint. So every one of these 3 pictures works the same way. You're normally in the default view with the binocucom, but when you hit any of these 3 triggers, the binocucom view changes to the blue form, and it lasts as long you either take the picture or go outside a certain radius from this trigger. And then after triggering that special binocucom view, we still have to actually take the picture on top of it. So let's show the route to the heat imprint first. We're gonna start by using this bouncy pad. In order to do that, we need to hold about left from the load and then correct the angle depending on the camera angle that's also trying to correct itself. So let's get on top of it. Just jump up, and here use the paraglider once, although the altitude is not great enough to create a bad landing. The reason for this is this other bouncy pad below us, and if we don't use the paraglider, we're gonna get an awkward bounce like this. Of course, if you get it, you can just keep going forwards with the paraglider, but our intention is to just jump on it like this and keep running until you reach this dark portion on the roof. So from this dark spot, you can already single jump circle boost on that cloth in front of us. You can already see the blue sparkles, like so. After that, we want to keep going to the direction of the trigger. So just run forwards and single jump circle boost on this cloth. If you try to jump too early, you'll grab onto this pole instead. So just wait a bit longer until you jump. And from here, you want to double jump circle boost on the next cloth ahead. Then there might be a guard here, and the guard is usually annoying, so hit the guard. But from this cloth, we want to single jump and aim towards this palm tree closest to you of these 3 palm trees in order to hit the trigger. Like this. You know that you hit the trigger if the binocucom option shows up in the bottom right of the screen and if you hear a Bentley voice line. And after hitting the trigger you want to run a bit to the right because the picture we want to take of the heat imprint is located behind these bars. And the bars do make this a bit of a tricky picture to take. Since if your precision is a bit unoptimal, you actually can't take the picture even though majority of your object of interest is visible in the binocucom. This makes it the hardest picture to take, so that's also the reason why I tend to take it first. Also for the sake of episode runs, to have it as an earlier reset point. So your positioning has to be kind of optimal here. If you can't take the picture from a certain spot, then moving just a bit will usually make it obtainable. So indeed the first sweet spot to take the picture isn't located that far on the right of this palm tree. It's about right here. And from this position, there it is. So check out this position and have it memorized very well because it's kind of precise. So here is hitting the trigger and taking the picture optimally in motion. After taking the picture, mash start in order to restart checkpoint. Then onto the cloth fiber. It is located behind those palm trees, so we can't really see it. But we're gonna use this bouncy pad once again, but now instead of going to this direction, we want to pretty much go to the opposite direction. So after bouncing on a pad, try to aim towards that cloth and try to do a double jump circle boost on it, like so. And then instantly jump off. You can also single jump this if you don't mash circle literally right as you're doing the jump, because otherwise you'll jump on this cloth instead. So hold left or slightly down left from the load, do the jump, jump off, keep running forwards to that trigger, single jump on the next bouncy pad and mash circle upon landing on it. Single jump to this cloth because you have to be on this cloth in order to take the picture optimally. Now here we have a clear view to the hair follicle picture, almost like 75% of the zoom is required, and if you have a really bad luck here, a guard is walking in front of your object of interest, but he'll walk away in no time. Instantly after this picture, when the binocular closes, you want to jump to the right and head over to the direction where the compass points you. And I'm gonna demonstrate this right here. Single jump on this and mash circle right after you jump from the bouncy pad, and then do a double jump circle boost to the trigger zone and instantly jump off from the cloth after hitting the trigger to the left. And this is a high enough jump to create a bad landing, so please cut that with a paraglider, and instantly when you land you're already in an acceptable position in order to take the picture, since you can already take the cloth fiber picture when you're standing in this little bush here. So here are both of the last 2 pictures back to back, since this segment is kind of connected. So just single jump off, keep running straight on the next bouncy pad, mash circle, double jump circle boost, jump off, paraglider, open binocular, take the picture, and after taking the last picture, mash start in order to quote-unquote skip cinematic, even though you can do movement here. And you're gonna spawn like this, very close to the ending trigger for the job. The distance is very minimal here. Now I gotta mention that the warp load to a location out of bounds where the ending cutscene for this job is located, the length of that load is random pretty much, and we don't know why. But anyways, just hold 1 o'clock from the load and go to the boat. And that's about it. Mash circle upon landing to this trigger. Now, this black screen can be very short or very long, and here we got it very long. Unskippable cutscene to end the job. And also, this job does not end with a job complete animation. After this load, mash circle in order to skip a cinematic where Salim explains some stuff. And after that, you just want to mash X to select slide, because we're gonna go to the next job, which is Open Sesame. Open Sesame has the third final Chalk Talk job trigger. The two final ones after this one are All Rolled Up and the Epilogue, which are the two final jobs in the game. Open Sesame trigger is located pretty much at the center of the map, and we're gonna go there with the most straightforward possible route. So as I told you in the start of the video, we're gonna go right from the load. There might be some guards once again on your way. I'm gonna show those scenarios next. So once you reach this ledge, single jump circle boost on this sword. The job trigger is straight ahead, so do the same movement that you did from Lost and Found trigger to the lamp shop by a tiny bit. Paraglide to this rock, jump up, and keep running to that same bouncy pad you used in Lost and Found when going to Heat Imprint and Hair Follicle. Now here the job trigger is located straight ahead, so just make sure that you do not fall on this bouncy pad and we're good. So let's show some guard spawn scenarios. So if this guard spawns, smack him instead of dodging the attack. And if this guard spawns, do not hit him. Instead try to jump and dodge his attack. That guard can do one of two different attacks, and here that guard did the attack that was the less favorable one, so we actually took damage. If this guard spawns, do the same thing, try to jump, and there we saw it. I dodged it. You can even get a boost like this. Now if two guards spawns back to back like this, then I guess the best way is to try to hit that first guard and then dodge the second one. And mash circle after you trigger the job. So we gotta retrieve 3 flawless gems, and this is how the gems are located on the map. There is a western gem, which is that one on the left. Then there's a northern gem in the north, and an eastern gem on the right. All of these are very far from each other, and you can get all these gems in the order of your choosing. It really doesn't matter, but only thing that I'm gonna recommend is to leave northern gem after taking the western gem. Like, it really doesn't matter at all if you take the eastern gem first or last. I like to take the western gem first, and then northern, and then the eastern. This is because the northern and the eastern gem are too far away from any of the other gems. It's actually faster to just restart checkpoint in order to get to the next destination where you want to go. There are some iCSSs involved, so that's another reason why you don't want to do that. The only reason where you would not want to restart checkpoint, even if you missed these iCSSs that I'm gonna present shortly, is a scenario where you miss the iCSS for the western gem right here, because then it is faster to run to the northern gem from that location compared to just restarting checkpoint after the flawless gem obtaining animation has finished. So in total, 3 iCSSs in this job. iCSSs for the northern and eastern gem save 13 seconds, and the iCSS for the western gem saves 11 seconds. And if you go for them and miss them, that's basically 15 seconds of time lost for the northern and eastern gem, and then a couple of seconds less pretty much for the western. So there are 2 routes that pretty much break even for the western gem. The first one runs past this corridor, double jumps paraglide, taps over those carpets, single jumps on this bouncy pad, and instantly double jump circle boosts on that hook. And instantly after latching on the hook, jumps off and either paraglides or does a double jump on this platform. Slightly hard backup, but it works if you fall down, is to either jump on this face and then to the hook, or to use this railing and paraglide on this platform. Alternatively, if you have rail sprint, a route that is equal speed to the one that I showed you looks following. Hold 11 o'clock from triggering the job, jump on its bouncy pad, double jump on this, double jump circle boost on that spider point, rail sprint a bit, and then fall on the gem platform. Also, another thing, the same thing with pickpocketing and hitting on our triggers is present here, so I'm just gonna do a neutral jump and not touch the left stick while I land, but I'm still gonna mash circle all the way through, and let's see what happens. You saw that lag, so yeah, if you want to trigger this instantly, you're just gonna move with the left analog stick by a tiny bit in order to cancel the landing animation and enable the possibility to actually get the gem. So these iCSSs have about the same difficulty level as the ones in Getting Stronger. You gotta press circle right before anyways, so that's why these are pretty viable. As follows. When you see the skip cinematic option, restart checkpoint and you'll get brought back to the same default spawn location you started your movement from. Now this is a bit tricky for practice since if you fail the iCSS, which I did not here, and actually start the cutscene and then load game, you can't practice the iCSS for the same gem anymore before returning to Hideout. The iCSSs in this job are not chained like the ones in Getting Stronger, but still this is a little curiosity for practicing. Okay, but let's say this was in a run setting and I actually legitimately missed this iCSS. Then what you want to do is to unpause instantly and watch the entire cutscene. And for Northern and Eastern Gem, you will start mashing start right here in order to pause the game as quickly as possible after the Flawless Gem animation has ended, like this, and then restart checkpoint. But since we're specifically at the Western Gem location right now, we would not do that. Instead, we would hold 10 o'clock from that cutscene and start running. As follows. You can cut that corner like that, and then when you reach this point right here, you see these lines on the ground and this clay pot right in front of Sly. That's when you can single jump circle boost on that railing on the boat, regardless of its cycle, as follows. And when you land over here, do a single jump to the left to that next railing on the other side, but do not circle boost this. Space your inputs as follows. And then just quick paraglider tap on this platform. The Northern Gem is located on top of that platform, and the intended route would be to jump across all these platforms. There is a little skip here, but I'm gonna demonstrate it after we go through the optimal route to this gem, which would start from the default spawn location. So from the load, hold directly up until you go past this bouncy pad, then turn slightly to the right, then run underneath that corridor in front of us. And once again, there can be some guards here, but usually they don't matter that much. So run past this pole from very close to it, but from the right side of it. And regardless of the cycle of that boat, we can single jump circle boost on the same railing from this location. So once again, watch out for these lines on the ground and execute the jump like this. And from this location, you can't just simply single jump circle boost on the other side always. There is a possibility that you would bonk on this structure. So try to aim your single jump in a way that makes it possible to dodge that platform that can cock you, like so. And here you're gonna need a bit lengthier paragliding than with the other route I showed you. When you get to this point, the objective is to do a slope jump with Sly from this platform right here. And as you can see, with a slope jump, we can reach quite far up already. So what we want to do is that we want to do the single jump, the first jump, directly against this wall. And then with the double jump, we want to jump on top of the platform where the Northern Gem is located, like so. So with this one, we hold up, and with the second jump, we hold left. This jump is very easy, and the trigger also reaches quite far out. So when you get to the trigger area, and remember to move a little bit within it or to that area, just execute the iCSS. Now only the Eastern Gem is left, and the way we want to go there is by holding right from the load, if you don't want to turn the camera straight from the load. But what I do is that I hold 4 o'clock from the load and already adjust my camera instantly from the load. Run past this bridge. If you get no guards on your way, the optimal movement runs like this from the right side of the palm tree. Single jumps on the pillow, on the spire point, and then on that bouncy pole and onto the gem platform. So if a guard like this spawns, what you want to do is to single jump circle boost on this cloth, instantly jump off, and then execute the movement the same way until the end. If you get a guard like this and the first guard that I showed you, what you want to do is to just dodge the attack and not hit the guard. After collecting all the gems, you're going to spawn extremely close to the next trigger area. It's literally right next to you. So what you want to do is to hold 2 o'clock from the load, and you can already pause the game before the fade out animation has left the screen and instantly skip a cinematic after that. You're gonna get some lag probably, but that doesn't matter. It only indicates that you actually hit the trigger, and you're gonna spawn in the thief costume. And just like after obtaining any costume for the first time, there's gonna be an info pop-up screen that you want to close by pressing X. So start mashing X after it appears on screen and stop mashing after that input connected. So just hold straight up from this load. Then run past these guards and just slow time in order for those to not cock you up. Single jump on this bouncy pad, and the next cutscene trigger is located literally right past these bars. Intended way would be to stand on the spire point all the way until the bars have reached their highest possible point, and you would have all the time in the world to go past those bars. So there are multiple bars like this that you have to get past by using the thief costume, and what you want to do is to basically press X and R2 at the same time when jumping off those spire points. With this first gate, you can jump off from the spire point when the gate is lifted halfway through, but I recommend still to just wait like a couple of frames extra just to be safe, because it looks kind of bad when you miss it. So kind of like 60% through and you should be clear as follows. Skip cinematic instantly. In this section we just have to destroy these gears with the sword. Now you see these blocks on the ground. It'll connect on that gear when you're standing on the top right corner of this bigger shape that consists of 4 smaller squares. So just basically stand right here and the sword swing should connect to that gear every time. What I recommend you to do is to either mash L2 straight from the load in order to equip the thief costume instantly, and then press triangle when you reach the square area, or then just hold up from the load and run until you reach it and then equip the thief costume and press triangle. The Paradox and Miss Decibel will start moving eventually if you just stay still like that. But in order to get them moving as quickly as possible, run towards them instantly after breaking the gears. And then you can stop running towards them when they start moving. This section is an auto-scroller. There are some elements that can make it go by faster or slower, and these are the segments where Miss Decibel and the Paradox stop. And in these situations, Miss Decibel can either sneeze or just say one line like that over there. Some sneezes and some voice lines are scripted, but sometimes it's random which one can happen, and the sneeze is slower and loses like 0.9 seconds to just Miss Decibel saying something random. This auto-scroller is divided into 3 different sections, and they are separated by cutscenes. So after each of those cutscenes spawn, just pause the game as quickly as you can in order to skip that cutscene, and then just do the rest of the segments accordingly. After the 3rd section, you're gonna get a camera angle like this. The Paradox and Miss Decibel are still moving, and here you want to run towards them until you trigger another cutscene. So just hold straight up from the load, like so. And there I got a first frame in order to skip a cinematic, but the view you get looks like that, so just skip it. And you're not gonna spawn in the thief costume, but you have to get through another gate by using it. And there's a pillow very close to you on the left, so what I recommend you to do is to mash L2 from the load in order to equip the thief costume immediately, then land, and instantly press X after you land in order to jump on this pillow, and after you get the jump from the pillow, mash circle in order to get to that spire point as quickly as you can, like so. Here, once again, it's enough that half of the gate has been lifted, and then you just jump off while pressing X and R2 at the same time, but just go a bit safe in order to not fuck this up. Like this. And here, you could skip this cutscene, but it's too short to be skipped. So after triggering this cutscene right here, do not pause the game. It's not faster to skip this cinematic. And when the cutscene ends, you want to hold directly towards those gears with the left stick, since the camera does not have time to adjust to the default camera angle after the cutscene ends. So just hold towards the gears and run like a couple of steps, but you almost have to do no movement at all in order to be within range to destroy the gears with the sword, as follows. And after that, just run to the tent with optimal movement by cutting this corner a bit short, like this, and this is the end of the job. Unskippable cutscene, so do not mash start, because you can't skip this cutscene. So after this job, we're gonna get to a load and back to the safe house, and then just mash X to pick up Salim, and let's go to Rugrats. To the job trigger, we're just gonna do mostly the same movement that we did to Lost and Found, but let's go over Salim's movement first. So Salim has those useless extra attacks and such, but a very important thing that Salim has but no other ancestor has is an ability that resembles Paraglider, and this is the Flying Carpet. This works exactly the same as Paraglider and also has the same speed, unit speed 7.5. So you use it literally just like Paraglider for Sly. So I guess this makes Salim the closest copy to Sly out of all the ancestors. So start out the movement by doing the exact same things you did when going to Lost and Found trigger, including the different guard spawns, but here continue running past that and go to the right, and from this ledge, double jump circle boost on the spire point directly ahead of you on the boat. You might want to extend this just a tiny bit. And then do a single jump circle boost on this spire point, and then double jump circle boost on the top of that cloth hanging from that nail. And from here you can just single jump off to the left like this and continue running directly towards the chop trigger. Now, this chop trigger is a unique chop trigger in the game, in the sense that it works kind of like Jailhouse Blues chop trigger, where you don't get any kind of cutscene when you trigger the job, but after that a cutscene triggers slightly afterwards anyway, kind of like with the Gallet section in Short Supply. So even though a cutscene starts pretty much instantly, almost instantly after the job has loaded, you still do not want to mash start. Mashing start will result in you getting the checkpoint but not actually skipping the cinematic. I'm gonna show you. Like this. The cutscene has not actually started yet, so from the load you're gonna get that cutscene again. So what you want to actually do is to wait until you see that you got the checkpoint with natural reaction time, and only after that pause the game and skip cinematic. From this load, an annoying guard spawns literally next to you about 90% of the time, but I'm gonna tell you an easy trick how to avoid that guard being an issue. So the next checkpoint is actually pretty close. It's in a crawl space right past this river. So we kind of want to hold 12:30 o'clock from the load, so between up and 1 o'clock, and go to this ledge and just use the flying carpet to get past this gap. So what you want to do is instantly after coming in contact with that slope, paraclimb or carpet climb up that slope instead. Often you'll just clear the gap with optimal flying without having to do the slope jump, paraclimb, R1 tapping / mashing inputs, but I just do them instinctively as a backup regardless every time. And then run past these palm trees and mash circle when approaching near this crawl space. And the trigger is located on the right and pretty close, so mash circle when approaching this trigger too. But how to make that guard not be an issue? So if you just hold 12:30 o'clock from the load and R1 at the same time, this is problematic because the guard is gonna shoot you 100% of the time straight into the water. So our objective is to bait this guard into doing a closer encounter attack instead. So how you get this done is by not holding R1 directly from the load. So just literally wait until the load has completed and then start holding R1. This is how you avoid getting shot. Okay, let's go inside the carpet shop. Even though after this load a cutscene will not take place, we still want to mash start from this load in order to restart checkpoint instantly from the load. This way we'll skip crawling that lengthy scroll space and spawn straight in front of this pole, and we can just hold up and mash X and circle from the load, and maybe even hold down R2, doesn't really matter. So Salim's special move is called Climbing Cobra, and it works by just holding down R2 and climbing poles like this very quickly. And it works to both directions, up and down, and it can be quite funny when you just do it back to back. Oh my god. So, as follows. And when you get high enough, you can just basically use the carpet to reach this platform and skip that hook. Even if you didn't get far enough, you can just use the flying carpet and carpet climb past that chandelier. The next cutscene is located over that X mark, so it's pretty easy to anticipate to pause here and skip cinematic. Now you spawn like this, so we just want to get to the next checkpoint and then to the next, so just hold up from the load once again while mashing X and circle, like so. And then paraglide just slightly past that corner in order for you to reach this platform. Because from here, you can double jump circle boost on that pole, but from this platform you can already just single jump circle boost on it. And dodge the flashlight, because this job is kind of like Breakout, where you just cannot get caught by any guard in existence, since it instantly fails the job. From this pole, you can either go all the way up, but you don't really have to. You just have to go up enough in order to reach this thief move platform over here. And from this platform, even though you'd be standing on this end of it, you can double jump circle boost on this spire point and then directly to this hook. We can skip attaching to both of that chandelier right there and this chain. And this trigger area is quite large, so you can pretty much trigger it instantly after landing, because you are gonna use a bit of flying carpet to reach this platform. So here's the movement in its entirety. Do not get spotted by these guards. It's bad. Skip cinematic after triggering that, and you're gonna spawn like this underground. We want to go to that crawl space right there, and if you just try to run towards that location with the optimal movement, you're just gonna end up falling in this hole. So what you want to do is to indeed hold left, but also jump instantly from the load and use the flying carpet to get past that gap. Don't care about the scorpions, just run past them, single jump here and into this crawl space. Do the crawl space movement as intended and go left after crawling out of this crawl space. Single jump, double jump, use the carpet, extended double jump circle boost to that hook, use the carpet, single jump circle boost on that hook, single jump circle boost this cloth just about from here. Like you can see the blue sparkles, so that means you can just single jump circle boost on it. So then a couple of backups if you end up falling down. If you end up falling down before the final hook, then you can already just double jump circle boost to this hook from that platform below. But when going to the end, you have pretty much two options: either ledge grab or carpet climb this corner, or then carpet climb directly from the center. This backup is a bit tricky though, so I recommend to go for this backup instead, since it is considerably easier. So then let's keep going. This is a lengthy cloth, and here the camera angle is once again locked. So Salim can single jump circle boost straight from these climbing Cobra animations, which is kind of nice. But many sections in Rugrats, including this one, are kind of tricky, since there will be damage planes everywhere. Like, look at this. Was that a damage plane? Okay, sure. So you gotta be careful with these, because it's really easy to hit these damage planes, because they're pretty much freaking everywhere. Now there are 3 clots in total. This is the second one, and then the third one. And when doing the third climbing Cobra move, you can pretty much pause the game instantly after you see that Salim has started to do the climb, and has started to move, like so.
Keep going, Salim. The tower exit point is just above your bridge.
Skip the cinematic as well, and we're gonna spawn in a room where we actually have to destroy the scorpion nests, because otherwise we can't raise that pole. So it's slightly faster to start with the nest that is in the far right. So hold 2 o'clock from the load. Every one of these nests takes 3 cane swipes to destroy. And also make sure by looking around that all the scorpions are actually dead after you have destroyed all the nests, because even one of them still being alive will cock you up and you're gonna lose a shit ton of time. So check your surroundings with care after destroying all the nests to make sure that all those scorpions are dead. Like here, 1 survived, so that would have fucked me up if I didn't kill it. The cane swipe inputs do connect to these nests from rather far away. With this section, it's a hardcore fact that better safe than sorry. Lifting the pole is a pretty easy thing. Hold up and down with the left analog stick. So when you see that Salim has started to do the lifting animation to either direction, you can change holding to the next direction already instantly after that. This way you'll be able to raise this pole optimally. And instantly after being done with it, single jump circle boost on the pole, climb it, and from the top, fly to this platform, and instantly when landing on it, do a single jump circle boost to the right on the pole. The reason why you want to land on this platform instead of jumping straight to the pole is that there's a checkpoint here, and you might miss the checkpoint if you just simply latch on the pole instead. So then just do the movement as following. Do circle boosts at the end of both those poles. And here's another checkpoint. From this pole, you can already double jump circle boost to this wall sneak platform. And there are guard cycles involved, but it is possible to dodge that guard cycle with a really precise double jump circle boost. But of course, if the cycle is optimal, then it's pretty easy to jump past. But with this little jump, if you jump too much forwards, there is a damage plane and you're gonna take damage from it, so it's kind of tricky that way. If you fail the job, then you're gonna spawn like here, so then just do the movement. It's common to get your thief move cancelled by these ones, and then you're just gonna freaking spin in the air. So if this happens, an advice is to just fall down and do the jump from a bit more intended angle. After getting past that guard from this position, single jump circle boost to the chain slightly on the right. Now for beginners, I do recommend to use the climbing Cobra move for all of those chains, but it is possible to just do very quick cane jumps past those 2 other chains onto this platform. Here are these wall sneak platforms, reach basically all over the place, but we can skip majority of these by doing double jump circle boosts past them. From the edge of this platform, from about right here, we can already double jump circle boost to the next wall, so in motion. The camera angles are kind of wonky through this entire job, so it's gonna take a lot of practice to get used to them. This guard is not as simple as the first guard. You can't just simply jump past that guard's slight, so here we just gotta wait until the light goes away. The cycles can be pretty annoying here. Sometimes they're lengthy, sometimes they're short. If you fail, you're gonna spawn like this. After passing the light, do the next double jump circle boost over here, and from this position you can already double jump circle boost to the next rope like this. And now we have to do a climbing Cobra move downwards to that next chain. The intended route would go all the way down, and then you could double jump circle boost to that chain. And there are some pretty annoying damage planes attached to these gears. like this. Like, these make no sense. So what you want to do is to climb down enough where the damage plane does not reach, and then do a double jump circle boost to the chain. And something like that can happen too, so be very cautious with this particular segment right here. I recommend you to take this safe. Now you can just cane jump to that final chain, just like I did there, but I do not recommend for people who are just learning this episode for the first time to do that. Now when jumping off this chain, your horizontal movement is locked. So just land over here, and instantly after landing, do a single jump circle boost over here, and then just keep double jumping past the wall sneak platforms. Here you do not want to miss this checkpoint, so basically just single jump to this platform, and the intended route would use these, but since we have the flying carpet, we don't have to at any point in this job, so just fly past, and after you land, single jump circle boost to this pole, to the next one, and to the next one, all the way over here. And the camera angle is gonna be pretty wonky here. What I recommend you to do is to just run past this area to that cloth right there. A checkpoint is located pretty much next to it. So please do that route, unless you're gonna practice this next little skip here a bunch. That only saves like a couple of seconds, so it's really not worth it, and the camera angle is pretty unintuitive here. So after landing on this platform, run to the edge and double jump circle boost to this chandelier. On top of camera angles being locked, also your horizontal movement is locked, so that's why this is pretty tricky. You can only go directly to this cloth or directly to this cloth. When doing this skip in one go, the directions I'm holding with my analog stick are 4 o'clock, down. So I hold 4 o'clock to get to this chandelier, and then freaking down to that cloth. So extremely unintuitive, but it kinda still aligns with the camera angles that are present during this first try. And then when you get over here, get the checkpoint, and instantly double jump circle boost back to this chandelier, and single jump circle boost to this cloth. And after hitting this checkpoint, you don't want to fall down, because then you're just gonna spawn on the other side of this area, and you're just gonna run back to the chandelier. So from here, you once again have to press start in order to skip a cinematic, basically right after you have started to fast climb animation. So here's the thing in total. Skip cinematic, and the hack trigger is located pretty near. Just hold 11 o'clock from the load and mash circle when approaching the hack trigger. This will be the 4th Spark Runner hack in the game. So what I want to do is to just hold down and instantly swap to that wire. And then the rest is pretty straightforward, but this is a kinda tricky hack. At least, definitely a lot harder compared to the hack in Short Supply. Wait for this cycle, and it's pretty easy to die here if you're not paying full attention, because these are everywhere in this hack and they can cock you. Now there is a little wire portion skip here that is located at the start, so right before you would fall off that wire and die, you want to press left with the D-pad in order to skip that loop. That will definitely end in a death and a major time loss if you fail it. And a window for doing that D-pad input is kind of precise, so if you want to do this in runs, I recommend you to practice it first a bunch. I'm gonna do it right here. And it looks like that. So there's only one cycle involved with this hack, but it can be either very good or very bad, and it's this one right here. So be cautious with that. Very easy to die in that section. And here, just pretty much flip the controller in a way where the left side of the controller is pointing directly upwards to the roof, and the right side is pointing directly down, but not quite, maybe like in a 10-degree angle or something like that, and you should instantly hit the trigger without bonking on any corners and such. So after the load, we're gonna get greeted with an unskippable cutscene because the job is over and a load back to the safe house takes place after this cutscene. After the load, something extraordinary happens because we actually have an option to do either Up and Smoke or Copycats after Rugrats. The last time this happened was way back in episode 1. We're gonna end this part of the tutorial series by covering Up and Smoke first because the cursor is set to Bentley by default when entering safe house after Rugrats. So if you wanna go to Up and Smoke before Copycats, then just mash X upon entering safe house. But if you wanna do Copycats first, then you gotta do 2 right inputs with either the D-pad or the left analog stick. I do recommend D-pad over the left stick, and then press X when the cursor is set to Murray. But if you want to keep it simple and straightforward, I recommend you to do Up and Smoke first because it requires less from your muscle memory. Because in terms of speed, it literally does not matter which of these 2 jobs you're gonna do first. The cursor is set to Bentley after Up and Smoke regardless, so let's pick Bentley and go to Up and Smoke. Job trigger is located very close to the safe house, pretty much directly on the left. So just hold 10 o'clock from the load and AB instantly. Then do 1/2 AB to reach the trigger. Mash start after hitting the job trigger in order to skip a cinematic. So this job is basically divided into 2 parts. Parts where we fly with the RC chopper, and then the interior section where we just basically do an alter ego hack. So the RC chopper has the same kind of boost that the RC car has, and you use the boost from L1. The boost works pretty much identically compared to the boost of the RC chopper. Then you drop a smoke bomb from R1. Depending on the angle you have when dropping a smoke bomb, it can have different kinds of trajectories basically, and this is kind of essential for this job. You can drop the next smoke bomb only after that previous one has touched the ground and blown up. This RC chopper section in its entirety is basically a nightmare for your muscle memory. So basically this section is divided into 3 different phases, and those phases are divided into 2 different sub-phases. So there's basically 6 sections in total here, all divided by a cutscene skip. So the structure of this section is following. First you spawn as the RC chopper, there are no enemies anywhere, and you're just gonna go to a certain trigger area. There's only one destination for you, and after hitting that trigger, you're gonna skip a cutscene, and then multiple targets for you to drop smoke bombs on will spawn. In this first phase, you're gonna get 6 targets. In the second phase, you're gonna get 7, and in the final one, 8. And there is a certain route for all these phases. After the smoke bomb lands on the final target, then you're gonna want to pause the game and skip cinematic. And in these sections, these balls are trying to home towards you. But if you do this optimally with the speedrun strats and optimal routes, they won't be an issue, and you technically have to fail a lot of stuff in order to die. You can take a total of 5 hits before you die to the 6th one. And when I played this job the first time in my casual playthrough, I had huge issues to hit these smoke bomb targets, and this is not hard at all. So you're gonna hit the dead center of those target zones if you just release your smoke bomb when the cockpit of the RC chopper is hovering directly above those red dots, like this. And you don't even have to be that precise with this, like, that is going to connect. And the center of that cross wasn't even inside that white circle. A bigger problem than this is the fact that if one of those homing devices spawns below the location where you dropped a smoke bomb, the smoke bomb will hit that homing device instead of falling onto the ground and onto the target that you were aiming. So that's the first kind of annoying thing here. Then the second one is that, like you saw right there, if a tall tower is located right next to a target zone and you're gonna drop a smoke bomb, there is a high chance that without doing certain kind of specific movement, the smoke bomb you dropped is actually gonna hit that tower instead of falling to the ground and hitting the target zone. So these are all overall observations from these RC sections, and now we're just gonna go through the actual movement and routes for these sections. Now, I'm just gonna show this right off the bat, what kind of advices I'm gonna give you straight from loads. So you start the RC section by holding 7 o'clock, then you go to the first trigger that spawns the 6 targets, and after that cinematic skip you want to start by holding 8 o'clock. Now you're gonna drop a smoke bomb to all those 6 target zones, and then you're gonna skip another cinematic, and after that you want to hold 5 o'clock from the load and go to the next cutscene trigger that spawns a total of 7 new targets for you to drop a smoke bomb on. You're gonna skip a cinematic and you want to hold 7 o'clock and R1 straight from the load, but release R1 immediately after the load has completed. Then you drop a smoke bomb to all those 7 target areas, skip a cinematic, and you want to hold right from the load after that in order to get to the final destination that spawns smoke bomb trigger areas. Smoke bomb dropping points 8 in total for the final phase, and from that load you also want to hold right, but maybe just ever so slightly down right, but basically just right from that load, and then just finish the entire section. There's a lot to remember here, so I just compiled this on screen for you right at the beginning, so you can write notes on it already in advance when you're following this section where the actual strats will be presented to you in real time. And of course, after all these loads, you want to also hold L1 in order to boost right off from the load. So start by holding 7 o'clock, go to that trigger, skip cinematic. So here I'm gonna show a full first phase done flawlessly, and then I'm gonna break it down. So just to note, these sections are extremely difficult to do flawlessly. Also, if you just hold R1, if you just keep holding R1, you're always gonna drop a new smoke bomb instantly when it's possible to drop one. So in this first section, it's pretty easy to just hold R1 button all the way starting from the first bomb drop all the way to the end, if you know what you're doing and you have done your boosts perfectly. So start by holding 8 o'clock from the load and drop the first bomb. Then when you're going from the first bomb to the second bomb drop, you don't have to use the boost at all. Just hold R1 and then you'll drop the second bomb at the right destination. Then you're gonna want to do a lengthy boost to the third bomb drop location, but not a full boost, almost a full boost. And with this third bomb drop optimally, the homing devices are an issue since they might be spawning in the way of the bomb drop, and it might break and kind of cock you up there. And then when going from third bomb drop location to the fourth, you're gonna want to do a kind of a mid-range boost, not that lengthy but not that short either, and just keep holding R1 and you should be flying above the fourth location when it becomes possible to drop another bomb. Then do not boost at all when going from a fourth bomb drop location to the fifth one, and then you're gonna do a little boost, just a tiny boost, and then you should be hovering above the final bomb drop location, and then just pause the game and skip cinematic after the cutscene triggers. And then from this load, you want to hold 5 o'clock and boost directly to the trigger area, skip cinematic when the cutscene starts. So here's the second section in its entirety. So here there are basically no locations where you can just keep holding R1 except directly from the start, since if you just hold 7 o'clock from the load and hold both boost and R1 from the load, you're just gonna drop the first bomb optimally, but then release R1 after you have dropped the bomb. So use all of your boosts when getting to the second bomb dropping location, then basically just turn around completely and go further up back to the third bomb drop location, and once again use basically all the boosts you have left at that point. And then another lengthy boost to the fourth one, and then just a tiny boost to the fifth bomb drop location, and after the fifth bomb drop location, go far down and use a lot of boost, basically use all you got in order to get to the sixth one. And after dropping the sixth one, dodge this very tall gate that's located on the map from the left or right, basically doesn't matter, and get to the final seventh bomb drop location. And then when the seventh bomb hits the ground, pause the game and skip cinematic, and just hold right from this load while holding down boost, and you're gonna use another bit of boost already when the previous boost had reloaded a bit. And here's the third phase in its entirety, and this is by far the hardest. You gotta drop 8 bombs in total, and also the most homing device spawns are present in this phase, and they're gonna spawn everywhere, and they're always gonna try to cock you up. So doing this perfectly is extremely rare and extremely difficult. So from the load, hold right and boost on top of the first bomb dropping area, and after that you want to go a bit more down than you would go if you would just do the most optimal movement to the second bomb drop location. But with this second bomb drop, this is where the issue of a tower right next to the bomb drop location is the most prevalent in this job. If you try to do the optimal movement, it's very likely that the smoke bomb you drop is gonna hit the tower right next to the bomb dropping location instead of falling onto the ground and hitting the actual target zone. So that's why I do that kind of weird unoptimal looking movement in order to avoid it. Then use a lot of boost, basically all you got, when going to the third one, which is located further down on the right. And after that, take a hard turn to the left and use a boost to get past this tower, and then drop the bomb on the fourth target zone. And here the homing devices are trying to cock you really hard. You gotta be fast and drop the bomb before the homing devices get close enough in order to steal that bomb drop from you and make you lose time. And then to this fifth one further down to the right, the same issue is present. You gotta be really quick and really fast with the bomb drop, and you gotta aim outside the target circle, aka go a bit risky. So yeah, this job is pretty tricky and it's easy to lose a lot of time here. After the fifth bomb drop, you gotta go far up on the map and drop the sixth bomb, and after that you want to go down left from the point of view of the camera angle and drop the seventh. Here the homing devices are only an issue if you have an optimal pace, but otherwise it won't be an issue. And then just go further to the left, use all the boosts that you have left in store, and drop the eighth bomb on top of the final target zone. Now, what I recommend you to do is to wait until the game starts to lag like a shit ton. That's when you know that the bomb connected and it's gonna transition to the cutscene. So it's kind of like the same thing with this job that was going on with Operation Mousetrap. Of course, you can iCSS this and save all the lag time, and if you iCSS this cutscene, you're just gonna get a sly T-posing in front of the hideout. But anyways, after you're done and you have paused the game, skip the cinematic. And after this cinematic skip, you're gonna spawn literally in the hack trigger area, so all you gotta do is to mash circle from this load in order to trigger this hack optimally, like so. And we're gonna go to the final alter ego hack in the game, the fifth alter ego hack. Now, there are a couple of new things that I'm gonna present right off the bat so that I don't forget them. So there are some new things actually in this hack compared to previous alter ego hacks. So this hack has these lasers, and you do not want to hit these lasers because hitting these lasers actually loses time. So just don't hit the lasers. Okay, now we can just speed up this hack until we get to the final boss. So this is the hardest alter ego auto-scrolling, at least, even though that's not that much said. But the early kill on the boss is probably the second hardest after Cane Swipe, because this is the only alter ego hack in the game where the final boss is located on the left side of the screen. So it's gonna spawn from the left, so you just basically gotta do everything the same way as with the other boss kills, but do the movement and aiming your shots in reverse. But if you can copy all your movement perfectly from the earlier alter ego boss fights and just swap them in reverse, then you shouldn't have issues with this. So just execute the early kill, and after you're done with the hack, we're gonna enter a load that leads into an unskippable cutscene in the hub world area. So do not mash start or pause the game during the cinematic. This indicates the end of this job, so we're just gonna get placed back to the safe house and continue with copycats in the next part of the tutorial series, since we're done with this 10th part and only the final part of the series is left after this one. So thank you very much for watching once again. Remember to like and subscribe and all that hello stuff, and we'll see you in the final part of the series. Bye.